Jiha field at Arrowhead Stadium has always been, and Kansas City itself has always been sort of a mecca for football in our region, and so we're in the Midwest in general. So I think we're so excited to be able to take this step in a familiar area.
Shut up, Brian.
Welcome to the pod. Welcome to Brian's World. I am your host, the ambassador at Kansas City, your big homie Brian B. Shynin.
Shut up,
so
Brian.
blessed to be here, and I'm even more blessed that you have decided to take your time and join me inside a new episode of Brian's World, because I know you could have been anywhere else in the world, literally, but you're here with me, and I'm going to make it worth your time this week. Make sure that you hit my fam up at Foolish Club Media, where you can get all of the Foolish Club Media podcasts, because look, football season is right here. It's here. So Brian's World finna get ramped up every single week right here on Foolish Club Media. And if you're in a podcasting mood, make sure you rate, subscribe, and review at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, man, for those of you that are checking this out at YouTube on Brian B. Shynin, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the subscription. Make sure that you click the link if you haven't subscribed yet, and subscribe to my YouTube page, man. I got all type of content, including all the Brian's World content, my content with Hustle and Shine in the morning on High 103 Jams with my partner Deanna Hustle.
Duh.
Also my mixes, beats, just all the things incorporating with Brian B. Shynin. You can catch on the B. Shynin YouTube page, man. All right, y'all, football season's here, so that means St. Joe is home, at least for the next month and a half or so. Give you my thoughts heading up to St. Joe with training camp news with the Chiefs. Rashee Rice's looming suspension. You already know what's going to happen. Prepare yourselves, Chiefs Kingdom. I'm going to help you do that. I'll give you my thoughts on 2 new deals that the Chiefs have been giving out recently. Trey Smith got locked up, as well as George Karlaftis. Both of them get new deals. I'll give you my thoughts on that. Plus, look, man, the Chiefs bulletin board material is already full, and it's July. It's really been full since the Super Bowl ended. But it's July. I'll talk about that. Why Arrowhead could be a little bit louder coming up this season. That's exciting for Chiefs Kingdom. And a topic I got to dive in, because Red Lobster is experiencing a renaissance right now, man. Shout out to the new CEO, and I'll tell you why companies need to hire younger CEOs. You definitely don't want to miss that. Plus, I have a conversation with Fox 4's Malik Jackson. Man, he's had some interesting conversations with and about Mayor Lucas, Frank White, the whole stadium situation, man. That's a conversation you can't miss right here on Brian's World.
Expectations are always high, and that's a plus. And the guys that have been here have earned that right to have it that way. And but at the same time, you've got to maintain that and even strive to be better. I mean, the AFC West is a tough conference, and it's not getting any worse. That's for sure. I mean, these guys, it's good coaching and they've got good players. So just that alone is a great challenge for us. And so here we sit, and we have an opportunity to put ourselves in a position to make ourselves better every day that we go through this thing. So let's do that.
Here we go again. One thing that I've noticed that's different from this training camp as opposed to last year's training camp, or even training camps from the years past, is that there's really not a mention of Super Bowl. It's kind of refreshing a little bit, because the pressure, I feel like, a little bit is off of this team. And I think it's needed a little bit, man. I think you saw the team not really collapse in the Super Bowl, but they weren't them complete selves, man. The team was tired. They looked fatigued. We all know and remember what happened in that game. But I think without the pressure of being the hunted and now being the hunters again, even if it's just a sliver of that, You know, even if it's just a little bit of that mixed in with the pot with the Chiefs. Let's be clear. Like, the Chiefs are still like the team of the decade, the team that everybody still fears, no matter what these analysts are talking about right now with this craziness with Mahomes. But that's why they're talking about the Chiefs, and that's why they're talking like they are, because the threat of the Chiefs is still there, and that's how big that threat was. But it's dimmed down just a little bit. And that's a good thing for this team. Expectations are still high with Andy Reid and the Mahomes DNA. And rightfully so, man. It's look, when you got Mahomes and with all the moves that the Chiefs made in the offseason, it's a Super Bowl win or bust. That's how Kelsey looks at it. I guarantee you that's how Mahomes, Reed, Chris Jones, that's how all of those guys. Come on, McDuffie and them, the 22 class, that was the first year where they didn't win the Super Bowl. Now, they went and lost it, but that was the first time in their careers. You know, so everybody is pissed off on this team, and it's a secret pissed off, you know. But the pressure is off just a little bit with this team. And that's just, you know, just a part of the motivation heading into this season with this particular team. Now, unfortunately, Rashee Rice won't be able to play every single game this season. We already know that now because the Dallas County judge sentenced Rashee Rice to 5 years probation and 30 days of jail time that can be served during those 5 years from his role in that crazy car crash that he was involved in last offseason in Dallas in 2024. Now that the judge has ruled, because this has been something that people have been asking about since it happened. Because, you know, a lot of times when a situation with a player happens, you get breaking news, you know, you know what the suspension is most times when you go through the proper judicial system or whatever. Sometimes it takes a long time for that to happen. And the way that the NFL has worked is that they don't make a ruling until the legal process has made their ruling. That's typically how it's gone with the NFL. And so now, look, we expected this. If you didn't, then you either forgot about Rashee Rice and what happened last year, or you just totally oblivious to what the NFL does and how they operate. Everybody got their guess on how many games. I don't want to get into that. What I do want to get into is at least the first 6 games of the schedule, because I personally we're looking at least 4 to 6, something right there. That's the basic feeling that everybody in the league is talking about, the insiders and the podcasts and what have you. Okay, Chargers in Brazil, Eagles at home, at the Giants on Sunday Night Football. And you got the Ravens at Jaguars Monday Night Football, Lions Sunday Night Football. Maybe the toughest part of the schedule that you might not have Rashee Rice. I would expect at least for this suspension to happen at the top of the season, at the beginning of the season. So I'm just looking at these 6 games. And can the Chiefs survive without Rashee Rice again another season? That's my question with this. Because now it's like we're not going to be able to experience this offense as advertised, as they should have had in the offseason, as the offense that they had last year. Unfortunately, the injury struck with the top 2 receivers, but it's just, we still got to wait. We got to wait till like mid-October to see what this offense really can be, barring any injury to anybody else. You know, that's just the most frustrating part, I think, in this whole thing. But if the Chiefs can squeeze out a 4-2 record in this schedule, in this part of the schedule right here, I would take that. 3-3, I'm like, okay, whatever. But that's not how this football team is built. And the Chiefs honestly played their best ball, of course, besides the playoffs. In the regular season, they played great in December, ramping up to the playoffs. But they usually, a lot of times, lose that last game because the backups are playing or whatever. But September, the Chiefs are usually playing their best ball. They're usually on fire in September. So that's the good part. That's the silver lining in this. and playing your toughest part of your schedule at the beginning of the season with this particular team. But man, that Chargers game is going to be tough in Brazil without Rashee Rice if they suspend him at the top of the year. You know, Eagles game, we're going to need him for that. Because we need all hands on deck for that Eagles game. Ravens, they're always looking, to get it back in blood. At Jaguars, Monday Night Football, okay, you should be able to handle them. And of course, I skipped over the Giants, Week 3, Sunday Night Football. I think that's their home opener. I think that's the Giants' home opener on Sunday Night Football. But who knows what that environment is going to be ruckus. The Giants are still, at worst, they're going to be 0-2 at that point. So their fans are still going to be, hype. So that what I'm saying is the environment on Sunday Night Football is going to be something where we're going to need Rashee Rice. We're going to need all hands on deck, regardless if it's the Giants or not. Anyway, at Jaguars, we should be able to win that. But then you got the Lions the next week. It's a bad time to be suspended, Rashee Rice. This is a bad time at the beginning of the year. Especially with the AFC West being tougher, and you're coming out with a divisional game against the Chargers. Now, yes, Patrick Mahomes and company have proven to win without Rashee Rice and without certain weapons. And they have time to plan around this now, too. So, we talk about Andy Reid coming off a bye week. I mean, it ain't really a bye week in the offseason against the Chargers, but the Chargers don't know what the Chiefs are going to throw at them without Rashee Rice in the lineup. So it's frustrating not being able to see this offense at its full potential though at the top of the year. But this comes to where has Veach properly prepared the team enough? Maybe this is why they pick Royals in the draft, because his prototype was Rashee Rice. That was his comp coming out of the draft. And like I always say, and like I believe, in Veach we trust. But, Mahomes yet missing another weapon, another year. He always has to go through some type of adversity. Always. What'd he say on Jungle Fever? You always had to do things the hard way.
You always had to do things the hard way.
Not that Mahomes himself did it the hard way, but he just always, it's always a difficult path for him, no matter, something. In 19, it was the knee injury. 2020 was COVID. 21, he lost the AFC Championship game. 22, he got injured in the playoffs. 23, injuries. 24, injuries again. So, look, man, Mahomes is wearing a cape. This is why we pay him the big bucks. This is why he's the big dog. And he has a lot to prove this year. We'll get to that later.